very well-deserving Hall of Famer, good friend Dick Vitale here on the program. How are you, Dickie V?
I'm doing really well. You know, it's been a kind of a funny day. I was on Get Up this morning with Greeny, and word came down that Jim Boeheim last night was involved in a car accident that cost the life of an individual. And certainly our prayers go out to the individual who lost his life, and our prayers also go out to Jim right now, who I know is going to be devastated. But I know you want to talk Zion, and we should talk Zion. And,
sure.
And it's become a hot topic now. A lot of people are saying, well, he should pack it up. He shouldn't play anymore. I think it's ridiculous, Rich. I think it's ridiculous. When you have a love for the game, what about being, not being selfish? This is a beautiful kid. I mean, we don't know all the medical reports yet. We haven't heard the final analysis from the doctors and the MRI. But if he has no structural damage, and it's what they think, a mild strain, and the kid wants to play, what's wrong with that?
Well, I mean, this could also be, just as we all know, Dick, as you've seen the worldwide leader explode, and then the shows like this having platforms, and so many other people on Twitter having an ability to cast opinions. As I said earlier in the show, we have no idea if Zion just knows right now he has every intention of playing. I mean, and we're just all filling the void until we know for sure, with the constant conversation that we've seen play out a lot in college football too, Dick, where a lot of future draftees don't want to put anything on the line for in a sport where they're not getting paid. So let me just ask you this question. I mean, if Zion decides to sit, you do. I heard you use the word selfish. You think it would be selfish if he does decide to do that, Dick?
Well, let me put it this way. Number one, first of all, I think Mark Emmert of the NCAA should get a message from this, loud and clear. To been saying so many times, Rich, and I firmly believe it, a kid like Zion who's the face this year of college basketball. I went to spring training camp, spent some time there with Garth Brooks, and everybody at the Pittsburgh training camp was coming up to me. The first question was, Dickie V, oh, Zion, he's unbelievable. Zion, what kind of pro? Zion. A kid like Zion should be allowed, or any player should be allowed on the collegiate level, if they can do endorsements and if they can go out, appear at banquets, autograph sessions, and get paid, so be it. What's the big deal? If Taylor Swift was a student and she went out and did a concert as a student and get zillions of dollars, that's okay. But I don't understand the logic. They keep saying, well, they don't have money to pay these athletes, but you got to pay everybody, whether it be lacrosse, baseball, basketball. Well, eliminate that. You don't have to pay anybody. And the second factor is, Rich, and I firmly believe this, a kid like Zion should be allowed to get money from an agent. If an agent wants to give him cash, let me tell you this, it would eliminate all the sleaziness. You know, Jalen Rose, we're talking tonight, on Get Up, I mentioned Jalen, you're a former player. Think about this. You know that there's so many shady deals go on behind the scenes while they're slipping cash to people, parents, etc., shoe companies. Eliminate the sleaziness. Say, you know what? If an agent wants to give the kid cash, let him give it to him. I mean, I really, if you want to keep these kids. And the third thing that really has troubled me for many a year is the fact that the one and done is a laughingstock in college sports. It really is. It makes a mockery out of the term student athlete. They should allow kids like Zion to have to make a decision out of high school. If they want to go to the NBA, a la LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, let them go. I have no problem with that. But I think if a kid comes to college, I have a problem with the football situation. I'll be honest with you. I have a total problem. They lead their team to a bowl game, and then they walk out on their team. I mean, that is, you don't teach those values in life, do you? Where's the moral values involved? What about quitting and thinking about yourself and they're your teammates? I have a problem with that. I really do. An injury, let me tell you this, Rich. He has a better chance of not getting injured playing in a structured environment than the unstructured, because you know and I know any kid that's not going to play and is in good shape to play will be out there working out like crazy. So I don't buy that argument. If he's hurt and he can't play, that's one thing. But if he can play, I think, and I don't think it'd be a problem with Zion, because he's already said, when Scottie Pippen said that he should close it down during the middle of the year because the stock was so high, kid came out very strong. Said, I'm not walking away on my teammates and my coaches or people. Plus, I love being a kid, love being a student. What is wrong loving being a student? I could go on all day with this, Rich. I don't want to take away your time.
No, I love it, Dickie V. I really do. I mean, there was a lot to unpack there. So I'll just, I guess, leave it there for the moment and ask you, I guess, the basketball question. How surprised were you? And obviously, you know, nobody expects a shoe to explode and the kid to be gone just less than a minute into the game. How Duke, just with all of their stud players that are still, you know, left to play, that they got blown out last night by North Carolina.
You know, I think mentally, you know, Rich, I think there's no doubt in my mind as a former coach, what a deflated moment that was in a game. It's a mega game. You got the former president there. You got people paying thousands of dollars to see this game, to basically see Zion. And I'm telling you, for that to happen so early, I think it took so much out of them. But saying all that, I was on SportsCenter earlier before the game, and I said the one area, you know, if Duke plays their A game, they beat anybody with their full cast. But they've had trouble during the year with an inconsistency of shooting the three. It's been a problem. And if they're not doing that, it could be a problem here in this game. Well, they go 8 for 39. Well, first of all, if Zion plays, they don't take 39 threes because he gives the productivity inside the three-second area. But you got to credit, certainly, Luke May was terrific. So was Cameron Johnson. Their whole team played exceptionally well defensively and offensively. You got to credit North Carolina, but there's no doubt. I mean, anybody, Roy Williams would be the first to tell you, they're a different team with Zion on the sideline, but they're still very talented.
Yeah, he said that after the game last night. Let's be honest. Once Zion's out, it makes things different. But that said, you know, I mean, there's all those fabulous freshmen that Duke had, and I'm wondering what Coach K, what do you think's going through his temples, knowing him as well as you do? What's going through his mind this morning, Dick?
Well, I think, first of all, he's concerned right now, certainly for Zion's status physically. He wants to make sure the kid is okay and everybody does the right thing. And I know he's so close to Jim Boeheim, I guarantee you that's on his mind big time. And thinking about the individual that lost his life in that situation. You know, you have Jim's situation, but you got a family there that got notified that their loved one is gone. And knowing the kind of guy Mike is, that's running through his mind. However, saying all that, if they have to play maybe 2 weeks or so without Zion, he's working on an adjustment stage and going through a scenario. You know, it happens so quick you don't have a time to adjust. I mean, you're not just losing a normal player. I mean, you're losing the best player in the nation, #1 draft choice. And now it's a shock to all the kids. But I agree with you. There's talent. There's three guys that in your lineup out of 5 at 60% are going to be NBA first rounders, and 2 of them are going in the top 5 of the draft. I mean, a lot of coaches wish they had that. So there's not going to be a lot of tears shed for Duke over the scenario in terms of, hey, they still got talent.
Yeah, they sure do. And again, you know, the sooner we hear about Zion's health, the quicker we could put all this stuff to bed. But it really is amazing how many people's first reaction was he shouldn't play anymore, Dick, that it's over because he's so.
I know, really. I don't understand it. Without knowing all the facts, I don't understand it. And I'll be honest with you, Rich, I really have a problem with that. I have a problem with football. I've always been a believer you don't teach people to quit. You don't teach people. You give a commitment, your commitment should be honored. You know, I'll be something else that bothers me. And I know I'm way off base with this. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. I don't know. But it bothers me when a kid commits. Rich Eisen commits to Michigan verbally. You're a great, great player. You commit verbally. You say, yeah, I'm coming to Michigan. And you're taking trips going to all these other campuses. I find that almost hysterical. I mean, it's ridiculous. If a kid commits, don't you commit? I mean,
no,
the parents and everybody involved, the coaches.
I hear you, Dick. I'm sure many people who are hearing this conversation might be saying to their radios or their television sets, what about coaches who let the kids commit and then they take a job that's bigger, apparently? I mean, what happens there?
I agree. In fact, that led me to something else that I said about 2 months ago, and I firmly believe this. I believe this, okay? We have right now waivers. Kids apply for waivers. If a kid transfers, the great player from Georgia, the quarterback, transferred to Ohio State, and his lawyer had to submit a waiver request for him to be eligible immediately. Well, you know, if Urban Meyer left and went to Florida to coach or Notre Dame, he was coaching, he doesn't apply for any waiver. My point is, you know what? If a kid wants to transfer, he transfers. And coach said, well, it'll be chaos. Oh, really? Well, if you have a great relationship and the kid is comfortable at the university, he's not going to leave. But if he does feel uncomfortable, why shouldn't he be allowed to leave without applying for waivers? I couldn't agree more with what you said.
No, but wouldn't that in a way mean that they're not fulfilling their commitment, their verbal commitment, or it's just something has to have changed since their verbal commitment in terms of what, their playing time, or, I'm just want to get.
Well, yeah, you go to a school, you find out it's not a verbal commitment anymore. Now it's a scenario where you actually committed, signed to go to that school. You go there, but you meet with the coach, and you find out. I mean, in life, a lot of times we find out that maybe situations aren't what they are. I mean, there's divorces and marriages, scenarios where things don't work out. Many times the head coach will almost support that decision because usually the decision for a kid transferring is based one way. It's usually on playing time. It's usually, I came here with great excitement. I thought I was going to be a vital factor, and now maybe I'm on the third team or fourth team in football, and I'm not even getting on the field, so maybe I'm better off going elsewhere. And I think many coaches would support that.
The book, Dick Vitale's Mount Rushmores of College Basketball, Solid Gold Primetime Performers from My 4 Decades at ESPN, co-authored with Dick Hoops Weiss, and the research by the great Schwab himself, Howie Schwab. That's awesome, Dick. And Dick Vitale.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. I've already given a check for $24,600, and my wife told me just the other day we're going to be sending another big check to the V Foundation. It's all every dollar I would make, Rich, not 60 cents. Will go for kids battling cancer, which is something that's so special to me. We got my big gala coming up on May, and we're honoring Dabo Sweeney, Chris Fowler, Avery Johnson. We're giving out John Saunders Awards in John's name for courage to Holly Rowe and to Lee Corso, and that's going to be a special sold-out 900 people. You got an open invitation, man. I told you.
Dick, I love
you got
that.
An open invitation to be a guest, one of the guest celebs. You're bringing about 60 celebs. It's a great night. Saturday, to come to my house, casual dress. We have a party for all the cancer kids that are with us, with all the D Foundation board of directors and all the celebrities. You got an open invitation.
Thanks, Dick. I really appreciate that. You know what I thought of last night? I always think of this because I was always sitting on the Sports Center set after you were calling a big game like last night, throwing to it. I thought Stewart would have really, obviously, he would have been just as shocked and crazed as everybody else watching Zion, but seeing UNC win a big game in Duke, I thought of Stu Scott last night.
He's going wild up there in Hoop 7 with their blowout, no doubt about it. He'll simply say, hey, injuries are a way of life in sports.
Right.
You got to respond. Yeah, we'd have heard a few Stu booyahs, huh?
That's right. We would have heard that. That's for sure. Dick, I love you. Thanks for calling. You take care of yourself.
Thanks, Rich. Hey, Rich, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Have your producers send me text-wise your address. I want to send you a formal invite to our gala.
I would love that. Thanks, Dick. I appreciate that. You got it. That's Dickie V, at Dickie V on Twitter, Dickie V _ESPN on Instagram. And, of course, go to DickVitaleOnline.com or wherever books are sold to go get Dick's book. All the funds go towards the Great V Foundation for Cancer Research.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.